Welcome to the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is my Bumble co-host, Kyle, JCRB Krause.
Hello, Internet. How are you today? I'm doing just fine. Please tell us how you're doing down below in the comments section. Or however you happen to be listening to this episode. Or, don't tell us how you're doing. That's fine too. You can do whatever you want. I'm not your real dad. It's fine. It's fine. Whatever, man. That's what I always say. It's fine, you know? I always say it's fine even when it's not. It's fine even when it's not. So, yeah. What's up, Ian?
Well, this is the last week to get a 10% discount on any Ninja Turtle products over at the Bumble Comics shop. Head over to bumbleking.com and look under the shops tab and enter the promo code O'Neill. That's ONEIL, all lowercase, to get 10% off any turtle books. You guys have been hungry for turtles, so I'm kind of down on stock, but hey, I still have a little bit left, so grab it while you can.
Turtles. Tonight we dine on turtle soup.
Turtle soup.
Finally. Sounds
What
delicious.
about you, sir? What you got going on?
I wish I had something interesting, but I don't.
Well, should we just do the Q&A then?
Which is about normal. Yes. The most interesting thing to happen to me is that we are doing the Q&A, so let's do it.
If you want your question answered here on the show, email us at BumbleKast@yahoo.com, tweet to us at BumbleKast, comment on any YouTube video, and if you are a patron, ask your question over in the Ask Q&A channel on Discord. If you want your question answered sooner rather than later, become a $5 patron over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, or send us 2 coffees. That's $6 US over coffee.com/BumbleKast. That's ko-fi.com/BumbleKast. Be sure to include your name and your question, because otherwise it's just a straight donation, which we will gladly take, but it won't benefit you. And that would make us sad, because we really want to benefit you. Please check the Q&A master list over at bumbleking.com/BumbleKast. And give a quick look at any of the past videos, because if we've already answered that question, we're not going to answer it again. All right, let's get to the priority Q&A for those patrons and coffee senders.
Let's do it to it, starting with this one from Son Amy Channel. Since Team Metal was confirmed as Sega's idea, not Archie Comics, if allowed to, how would you introduce Metal Amy and Metal Tails into IDW Sonic? What type of rivalry would they have with the main Amy and Tails? And what would Team Metal's dynamics be in IDW?
First off, I am afraid I don't know what you're talking about. Is this like the early talk of what could have been for Sonic Heroes, maybe? Because I remember there was a lot of oddball possibilities for that, but I don't remember any official word from Sega talking about a Metal Amy or a Metal Tails. So if somebody knows about that, please link me to it in the comments below in the video or whatever, because I would really like to know. The fact that I'm missing out on some form of trivia or minutia cannot stand. I must know all the Sonic. As for how to implement a Metal Amy or a Metal Amy or a Metal Tails, it depends on what we're going to do with the story, how long they're supposed to stick around, how much leeway Sega gives us. They may want to do their official versions and not have a comic steal their thunder. I would imagine that they should be built off of the same principles as Metal Sonic, and Metal Sonic is Sonic taken to extremes. He's extremely aerodynamic. He's ludicrously fast. His entire torso is a jet turbine, for pity's sake. And Sonic, who is all about spin dashing through walls and badniks and whatnot. You have Shadow with his big flashy shield that can bust through spikes and whatnot. So you need to take what is the core mechanic of Tails and Amy and just take it to the next level. Amy is all about pursuing Sonic, so make her a pursuit robot. Amy is surprisingly strong with the hammer, so surprise hammers out of, hammer space. Does she summon tactical surface-to-air hammers? Does she transform her hands into hammers themselves? Does she have a hammer? Does she drive hammer-themed mechas? I don't know. Tails is all about flight, so does he have infinite flight to just make Tails super jealous? Tails is kind of a support character to Sonic in a variety of ways. Is Metal Tails a support unit to Metal Sonic? Like, does he recharge him or overpower him? Not overpower, boost him. What role does he play? Is he an individual unit, or is he meant to work in a pair? There's a lot of questions to be answered, but you can have fun with it.
Sure. Yeah. Be interesting. Who knows? What I do know is we have this next question here from Andrew D. I've seen people making movesets for various characters as if they were in a classic-styled Sonic game like Mania, such as Sally with Nicole and Metal Sonic. What are some ideas you have for how any Sonic characters from various media might play in this style? I'd love to one day see the Freedom Fighters and the Metal Doppelgangers, as well as other classic characters like the Hooligans, Amy, and really anyone. I suppose that's where mods come in, but that's beside the point. Jet the Hawk, Pseudo Sonic, Eggman himself, go ahead and go crazy.
I don't know, because the hard thing about classic Sonic is the simplicity of the design.
Right, I feel like we've done something similar to this before, where we've kind of talked about this.
Yeah, and I think I might have been more creative on the previous episode, but I don't know, I feel like that one button limitation really requires some creative thought. With Mania, I never would have thought of Mighty's downstrike or treating Ray like the cape out of Super Mario World. Those are brilliant. That is excellent ways to do new stuff.
Yeah,
with a very simple control scheme.
And that involves just like double tapping or air tapping after jumping.
Mm-hmm.
So things like that, or you can at least do 2 button presses or something, but that's generally about the most intense the control scheme gets.
Mm-hmm. Like Sonic Advanced as a series was kind of neat, and they did a lot of extra moves, but ultimately I feel like you didn't need to use any of them. Like Knuckles could do his 3-punch combo, but that required a different button press and required you to stop. You couldn't really box on the run, and when the whole game is about moving fast and keeping momentum, there really wasn't a point to it. You could get by with just his glide and his spin dash. So it really comes down to what can you do to keep that momentum and keep that single button input. And I really don't know how that would best fit with a lot of characters without them becoming just clones of what's already there. Eggman in particular, I feel like you'd have to just do something completely different, because his MO is not going fast or maintaining momentum. His MO is being kind of an overpowering force. So, give me an Eggman game where you beam up little animals as they run along, drop badniks to attack. Really, Eggman needs to be a base builder RTS game.
Yeah.
When you get down to it. But like the Hooligans, I really don't know, because maybe you could get an extra high jump out of Fang with his springy tail. Maybe Bean hurls bombs on a double jump. I don't know. It's hard to say what you could do with it. I know there are fan games out there that have already answered this question far better than I could.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm kind of drawing a blank. I'm not very creative today, Kyle.
That's okay.
I'm just going to be factual for everyone.
That's okay. We've we've touched on this before in a past episode, so go check that out. Go do that. Scurvy Pirate Dog is here with a question. With the recent reveal of Gun appearing in the Sonic movie sequel, what are your hopes for the movie? I personally hope for focus on Sonic and Tails' brotherly bond, Jim Carrey going full Eggman, and the possibility of Metal Sonic.
I'm going to have to dodge this question because I know things about the movie.
Uh-oh.
I am not involved with the movie. I am not doing anything comic related with the movie. I am not connected to the movie in any way. Let me stress that. But I am in a position where I still hear things and know things. So just to be super safe, I'm not going to say anything.
I find it interesting that they're pulling Gun in. That's all I'll say. So we'll see how it goes. Other than that, there's been some other recent reveals that are spoilery, that have been pretty much spoiled for everybody at this point, I guess. But still,
set security seems to be about on par of gun security in the games.
Well, yeah. Well, it seems to be a common thread through public open film sets in Vancouver. I don't know what it is about it, but like, yeah, it's just they just the paparazzos. They get in these things somehow. I don't know how, but yeah, they do that a lot there. Yeah, that's really all I know. It's an interesting possibility, but I don't know. I wouldn't get too excited necessarily, but that's just me. I'm just weird. So I don't think it's going to get too crazy, despite what they might be saying. So here's a question from...
biting my lip as hard as I can.
Yeah, I know you are. That's fine.
Hashtag knowing smile.
It's fine. It's fine. Just, yeah. I'm not going to get my hopes up about anything. Because why? Why should I? Tell me why I should. In the comments below.
You have to have a little hope in life, Kyle.
Why?
I don't have a good answer for that.
Now I'm just being silly. But here's a question that's not silly. Or is it? I don't know. We're going to find out together. Here's this one from Happy Times. Whisper and Nack compete against each other in the greatest challenge for sharpshooters, those rigged Carnival shooting games. How does it go? For extra potential havoc, Tangle, Jewel, Bean, and Bark could also be there at the Carnival. See, this question's not silly. This is very serious business.
This is delightful. Because it starts off as just kind of a petty rivalry thing. Fang starts it, of course, because he's just a jerk, and Whisper answers the call, mostly because Tangle encourages to do so, and they're both expert snipers, so it's neck and neck. They keep succeeding. There is no clear advantage. There is no clear winner, and so they just keep getting more and more into it. They go to each game. They start implementing new handicaps. They are just like dead focused on being the best. And because they have such tunnel vision, the others are bored and they move on. Bean is Bean. You've led him out into a incredibly stimulus-rich area. He's going to be Bean. He's going to be bouncing off the walls. And Tangle, she is also in a stimulus-rich environment. She's going to be bouncing off the walls. She initially thinks that they need to keep an eye on the Hooligans to keep them out of trouble, but ultimately it's just her and Bean being small children going amok, and it's up to Bark and Jewel to rein them in. So Jewel and Bark kind of default to mom and dad. Bean and Tangle are bouncing off the walls wherever they can. And by the end of the day, Whisper and Fang have mutual respect for each other as sharpshooters, and they have won every single prize at the Carnival.
There you go. Perfect.
Tangle and Whisper 2 coming to you summer of 2025.
2025? Wow. So soon.
Also, quick follow-up to that last answer. I was not actually teasing Tangle and Whisper 2. That was a joke. Please do not quote me on that. I do not want to see that show up on one of the news wikis saying Ian confirmed. I have to specify that, but I know there's at least one person out there who will not get the context. So,
here's a question from Off. In an alternate reality where Mobians are Zeddy and Zeddy are Mobians, what species would each of the Deadly Six be? Also, someone please draw Sonic and Friends as Zeddy now.
Please don't. Species, that is interesting because I guess one of the questions is, do you want to maintain some of their key features, which is they are horned and they have tails? So does that restrict us in what they could be, or is it just pick a species that best fits their characterization and their kind of body type?
I would say, yeah. I would say
the latter.
Yeah.
I don't know. Zavok is it's supposed to be a big, scary, powerful, almost regal type individual. He's supposed to command authority with a look. So some kind of large, burly animal, maybe go with an ox to keep the horns, maybe a lion. I feel like something like a crocodile, given vector at the basis, is almost too lean. He needs to be something big and boxy, maybe like a snapping turtle or an alligator turtle. That would be terrifying.
Yeah. Or what about like a big ape?
Gorilla maybe.
Yeah.
they're supposed to be peaceful creatures, but nobody actually keeps that in mind in doing popular
Yeah,
media,
well,
so.
hedgehogs aren't. They don't run at. They don't break the sound barrier. So, and
That's
also
true.
they are not blue. So
That is also true. Zeke is such a tiny thing. Make him a bug, like a grasshopper or a cockroach or a flea, something small and bouncy. Zaz is all gangly, and I feel like the tongue is kind of an iconic thing. So maybe like a salamander?
yeah, he's kind of or snake-ish.
Yeah. Or maybe make him a more gangly Espio chameleon type thing.
Something like that. Either lizardy or snaky would be something that would make sense.
Zamam, I feel like going the route of like a pig would be a little too easy, but he's a big portly dude. The whole thing, his whole gimmick is eating, so
Yeah.
and translating something like a baleen whale into Sonic would be a little weird. So
Yeah.
we're gonna be boring and just say that, or maybe the gorilla again because of those big old arms,
or
big lanky arms.
I don't know, like a hippo, something.
Yeah, maybe get that giant mouth in there, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Xena, small, quick, long, flowing hair. What could use that hair? Maybe another bird. Like, I'd hate to say another swallow and steal Wave's thunder, but that kind of swoop of hair might fit with the swallow type of long accented wings and tail, or maybe some kind of pheasant, something that is very decorative and preening. And Zor would be a rat, just this hunchback, shriveled little nasty sniveling rat.
Yeah, something like that. Sure, we'll go with that. Is that all of them?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, they're so memorable, they clearly just immediately spring to mind.
He's like Master Splinter, except not as not. He's the anti Splinter. Speaking of Zeddy, here's one from Zavik Simping Sony. I've noticed that the flickies from 3D Blast have appeared in the comics, despite 3D Blast being a classic game. So what's up with that? Are those types of flickies considered modern as well, since it's all in the same species?
I think it's just meant to be a visual thing that nobody caught or cared about.
I
mean, the small animals, as far as I know, exist both classic and modern. So, if your flickies and pockies and pickies and rickies can show up in Lost World, I imagine the 3D Blast flickies can show up as well.
And the 3D Blast flickies are the same as the ones in Sonic Adventure, so there we go. Next up, question from Diane W. There is this lingering question that everyone in the Sonic community has yet to be answered. Who created the Chaos Emeralds? In the games, it's established that it is believed that the emeralds were created by the gods, but which gods exactly? People say it was Chaos, the god of destruction. Some say it was Solaris, the god of time. And others say it was Dark Gaia and Light Gaia, the gods of destruction and life, respectively. From what I can find online, and that one Sonic Theory video, the most common answer out of the 3 or 4 candidates is the latter. This makes sense, given an explanation to Light Gaia's connection to the Chaos Emeralds, as the Gaia temples all have altars for each Chaos Emerald. But what do you think? Who created the emeralds?
I'm going to have to back out of this one too, because again, I know things. And those things I cannot talk about as of right now. Suffice to say, none of those are right.
Okay.
And we'll just have to leave it at that for now.
Yeah, I think the creator of the emeralds was Sonic Team. Yeah. Yuji Iwakawa, Naoto Oshima, and Yuji Naka. Those 3 probably were the creators of it. Just saying. Just putting that out there. Here's one from Glitchiest. Are you allowed to engage with fanworks and such working on official media like this? My common sense tells me no, but you would at least be able to read Evan Stanley's fan comic if you wanted, considering she writes and draws for IDW Sonic 2, and you can't very well steal story beats from yourself, right? And in a similar vein, are you allowed to mention your own opinion on characterization and how you'd write characters if you were given free reign? I'm very interested in knowing what you would have had Shadow doing, particularly in issue 19, And the line that was changed to, I'm here for my own reasons, whatever that means. If you had complete creative control, considering you wrote him perfectly during your run on Archie Sonic, I'm sure you would have written him just as perfectly in IDW if you were allowed to. Will you ever be allowed to release drafts, or what could have been scripts, or is it strictly under an NDA?
To the first question, no, I cannot look at FanWorks. And just because Evan is a freelancer hired by IDW does not like suddenly make her comic free to look at by everyone, at least not by my standard. It's still a fan work. And I don't want to accidentally crib one of her ideas, because it's not like we both work on IDW and therefore everything is mutually shared. It's not like we're part of a permanent ongoing creative team. We're both freelancers. It's just we happen to both work on the same title. And, that's fine. That's great. And I'm glad that she's where she is, because she's good at what she does.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't just magically make everything okay. If anything, it's more behooves me to protect her IPs, because it's mutual respect out of creators. Like, whatever she contributes to the IDW book, I, of course, will read and try to build off of and contribute to, because that's to the benefit of the title. But what she does in her free time is her own thing, and I don't want to accidentally take from that. So, no, fan works are completely off the table. I mean, and this is where the gray area comes in. Like, if you do a piece of fan art of Tangle, just being cool, just Tangle, that's fine. I'm not going to get an idea off of that. That's Tangle. That's just neat. But if, you've created your own webcomic where Tangle gets a new character, sidekick, brother, or whatever, or here's your interpretation of events, that I can't do, because that's your original ideas, and that is where things get kind of potentially problematic. So, just to be safe, I try to avoid most fan stuff, unless it's pure distilled, just basic fan art. Then that's cool. As for talking about plans or public critiquing of the material, I try to walk a fine line on that, and admittedly might kind of tread a little too far here and there. But I feel like I try to be as open and honest as I can on the show, but I also need to keep in mind that I am a very prominently associated figure with the franchise. So anything I say, whether it's in jest or just casually, is going to carry a lot of weight to it. So I just have to be careful with what I say. I am not satisfied with the current direction Shadow is in. I've said that much. And I try to frame it and other opinions as, this is how I feel, and this is what is factually the situation, without making a judgment call. I don't want to say, oh, these guys are idiots, I should do it my way because I'm so much better, because that's no, that doesn't get you very far. And my way is not necessarily the way. There are other creators out there. There are other ideas. So I just try to find the right balance of being honest and direct with my opinion without dwelling on it or inadvertently ragging on the license holder and my employers. Don't bite the hand that feeds you, as the saying goes.
Right. Yeah.
In terms of what might have been or whatever, maybe one day, but it's not like Lost Hedgehog Tales, where there was a lot of pre-planned material that had to be tossed. It's, just part of the revision process. Here, I want to do it this way. No, don't do it. Do it this way, or change it to something more like this. Okay, there you go. Boom, done. It's not like there was some greater arc planned for Shadow that had to be trashed. It was just, here's the scene. SEGA wants it played more like this. Okay, revise. There you go.
Right. Makes sense to me. Next question is from the Hobo Joe. When Sonic joined IDW, I remember one of the talking points was crossovers. It's been some time, and there doesn't seem to be any sign of that happening. That said, having thought about it for a while, I'm having a hard time finding a mix with what's there. That's not to say it's impossible, but I'm having a hard time imagining what Egon would have to say to Amy and why. Have you given thought about potential ideas, and why is it Ninja Turtles?
Again, the series is still very young. We're only in our third year.
Sure. Yep.
And in that time, I am still amazed with the amount of bonus material that we've gotten. The fact that Tangle and Whisper and Bad Guys even exists is still just mind-boggling to me. To have, and that's because of you guys. That is 100% fan support. You guys have bought the book like crazy. You have asked for this stuff and you have supported it. So thank you. You guys are amazing. But I remember in the older days, the idea of launching an entire mini series for a comic exclusive character would not even be considered. There's no market for it. There's no possibility. No way. We don't have the numbers to support that. And here we have Tangle and Whisper within, what was it, year 2 that they got their mini? What in the world? And it wasn't just here's Sonic tagging along with them to sell the book. Obviously, we planted Sonic imagery in there because it's a Sonic book. It's a Sonic series. You need to have the main character show up to some degree. But it was a, original character driven story arc, and it sold. It did well.
Yeah.
I mean, Bad Guys features Zavok, but it's not like he's really a headliner villain. And it was driven by comic exclusive villains. It's just that's crazy to me. That's so cool. So it's not like, I don't know where I'm going with any of that. I guess more that the time and energy that could have gone to a crossover book has been going into just making Sonic a success, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And, just because we have a crossover now doesn't mean that it isn't. Again, we're barely 3 years into the book. It's very, very young. There's plenty of time to do crossover stuff. Ninja Turtles makes the most sense because you have big characters, you have animal characters, you have color-coded characters. You can have a lot of fun with that. Right now, the meme is probably petering out by the time this episode popped up, but there's a lot of Sonic and Batman talk because a particular panel was based very directly off of Casinopolis out of Sonic Adventure. And I've been kind of workshopping that in my head for funsies, and it's weird. There's a couple of directions to take it, but you can make it work. I mean, if Batman Ninja Turtles can happen, Sonic Batman can happen.
Sure. Yeah.
A way can be found.
We can do it.
We mentioned this, I think it was on the last episode. Somebody asked for a Ghostbusters crossover, and it's I'm not as familiar with that one, so it's hard for me to say.
Right.
But that's part of the fun of crossovers is you get these crazy scenarios and you go, okay, what are some common elements? What are some character interactions that could be fun? And you figure out how to make it work. I mean, for pity's sake, they're doing Transformers and My Little Pony again. That is wild, dude. If you can make that happen, a Sonic crossover can happen.
Oh yeah, for sure. I can see Sonic.
I mean, I was all about pitching a Sonic Godzilla thing as soon as they got it back, but apparently Toho doesn't play ball with anybody, so that died before it even got off the ground.
Oh, Sonic Transformers seems like it would be a pretty good crossover. I feel like you could play with that. That'd be so many characters,
Sonic's whole deal is defeating evil robots. Can you just imagine him tearing through the Decepticons? I'm like, it's just one hedgehog. He is literally the size of our hand. What is going on?
It's true.
Some incarnation of the Egg Dragoon hefting Megatron as an armament.
Oh, man. There's so much fun to be had.
Dogfight between the Tornado and Starscream. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Decepticons are after the Chaos Emeralds in lieu of Energon. It writes itself, man. I'm not even firing on all cylinders today.
Yeah. I mean, it's just straight up there's so much freaking crossover potential with just Transformers. Yeah, it'd be great. Love to see that. And finally, we have this last question, priority question, I should say, here from Scruffy Matt. I've been binge watching The Muppet Show on Disney Plus, and I was wondering if you two could gush about the Muppets franchise for a little bit. Favorite series and episodes? Favorite movies? Favorite characters?
It's been so long since
I know.
really gotten into the Muppets.
Me too.
But I love them. I've always thought myself kind of a Fozzie Bear, but I think in life I've become more of a Kermit. And I don't know, classic Muppet Show is just, it's weird, but it's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much a product of its time. It's very bizarre, but it's still good.
Yeah, it's very 70s. Yeah.
Favorite movies would be Muppets Take Manhattan and Muppet Treasure Island.
Yeah. I still like the classic, the original. Just the Muppet movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
The last two, just the Muppets and Muppets Most Wanted were also pretty fun.
Right, I've forgotten about that.
Yeah, the recent ones. They're not I wouldn't put them on the upper echelons of the other ones, like not the original or Muppets Take Manhattan or Christmas Carol or Treasure Island or anything like that, but
yeah, but I feel like what was it, you already said it, the first of the new Muppet movies.
It's just the Muppets.
The Muppets, yeah, I feel like it caught the spirit.
Right.
A lot better than I would have thought it would. And the fact that it had a callback to the contract for the rich and famous is like, oh my God, you have continuity for the freaking Muppets.
Yeah.
I love it.
That one was a lot of fun. Yeah, I also have a lot of nostalgia for Muppet Babies. I don't know how well it holds up. Probably not all that well. But who knows? Maybe it's decent. But I still kind of have a lot of nostalgia for it. I haven't watched it in forever other than that, so. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, I grew up watching Sesame Street for sure. That's fun. But yeah. What are your favorite Muppet characters, Ian? You already mentioned, I guess, Fozzie and Kermit.
On Gonzo.
Gonzo. Yeah, Gonzo's great.
And, looking back, it's almost like Gonzo is fairly down to earth when he's not performing.
Right.
It's like he's actually not any more oddball than the rest. It's just as a performance artist, he's, well, Gonzo. Swedish Chef was always a segment that I look forward to.
Yeah. I always
Statler and Waldorf.
Statler and Waldorf are the greatest. Yeah, they are my spirit animals in a way. I also do love Animal. He's just crazy. He's just Animal. He's just wild. So yeah, that's the Muppets. We like the Muppets.
Animal want to eat drums. Eat drums. No. Beat drums. Beat drums. Ah. Yeah, pretty much the entire Electric Mayhem.
Yes.
They're groovy.
Yes.
Like, they're all great. There was some TV special that I remember watching at my grandparents' house and being bored to tears because it was some rendition of the Frog Prince that focused on Robin, and Robin is one of the most boring Muppets to ever exist. Kermit could have done so much better in terms of relatives, but
okay. Like he has a choice.
But like, there's this musical number with Kermit and a bunch of other nameless frog Muppets singing the virtues of being a frog, trying to convince Robin to just, give up this crazy idea that he's a prince and enjoy being a frog. And I remember that song being just fun as all get out. But,
yeah, it's been forever since I've watched Fraggle Rock, but
I do
remember the Fraggles being a lot of fun.
Man, Fraggle Rock was, the Muppets are already very much a product of the time, but Fraggle Rock was when they were on the really good stuff, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they were on something for sure.
Like, there was one episode where I forget what was going on with the gourds, but it was causing them to disappear gradually. And it started off with their heads turning invisible, which is, of course, they just walk around with the suits without the heads on.
Right.
But you have these headless giants stumbling around the set, screaming in terror because they're headless. And it's like, this is messed up. This is traumatizing. What in the world? Like, there was a whole episode where, like, there's a shaft in the cavern and the moonlight is beaming down into this pool. And everyone is really excited because the moon has come down to Fraggle Rock, and there's a bunch of infighting over what to do with the moon, and a cloud passes over, so the reflection is gone, and they're like, oh my God, we killed the moon. And there's like an entire segment of the show with him grieving over the hubris of having killed the moon. It's like, what is this show? What in the world?
Show's so weird. So weird.
That, and it's always fun to see the Uncle Traveling Matt segments as he journeys through the world of the silly creatures and just seeing the fashion of the era.
Yeah, yeah. Early 80s were a heck of a time.
But no, Muppets are great, and just the technical prowess, like that shot of them all biking down that lane together, and it's so seamless and natural looking. You forget that it's not like people in suits, because it just doesn't work. It's all marionettes, it's all puppetry, and it's just astounding.
Yeah,
what they accomplished.
Yeah, puppetry is always something I look at as like, I don't know, it's freaking dark wizard magic. I don't know how it happens. I don't know how they do it. It's just amazing. Like puppetry, like, just really good puppetry is I don't know. It's magic. I don't know how it works. It's incredible. And
not to be a snob about Jim Henson Productions, but you can really tell the difference.
You can, yeah.
When somebody does like cheap, lazy Muppet-esque puppetry, and they're just doing like head tilts and head flaps and wiggle back and forth. It's like you're emulating what you see, but you don't understand the characterization. And then you go back and you look at the Muppets, and once the rose-tinted glasses are off, you can see it's a puppet, obviously, but the characterization and the care put into the staging and the way that the camera's cut, and just it's on a completely different level.
Yeah, and the movements of the puppets, and it makes you believe that they are actually alive, and that's one of the things that just makes it so. It just elevates it to another level above just general puppetry. And that, not to say that general puppetry is a a lesser art form or anything, but man, it's there's definitely a difference. Like, it's like going from the first two Ninja Turtles movies to the third. Yeah.
And part of that too is credit to the actors and guest stars that they had.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Because them reacting to the puppets in a realistic and genuine fashion sells it even more. And that's part of the reason why I liked the new Muppet movie so much, is because they didn't treat it like, oh, here we are and there's Muppets. Isn't that kooky? It's, no, we're living in the world with the Muppets. The Muppets exist with us. It is natural that these creatures made of felt and talking chickens exist alongside us. And it just comes with the territory. And that, I think, makes a huge difference. And
yep.
What was the one Muppet show that was done like The Office? What was it called?
Oh, I don't remember that. It's like one of it's recent ones. It's just the Muppets. Yeah, it's just Muppets 2016. 2015.
I didn't see a ton of it, but what I saw was very much in that same vein. It's like, here are the Muppets, and they exist in corporate Hollywood, and people treat them as just people. And that to me felt pretty darn authentic.
Right. Yep. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, there's just something about it that they just really nail, like, all the time. It's so great.
And you almost can't help it, because I remember there was an interview with Jon Stewart on The Daily Show with Kermit.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And John's cracking up because he's making eye contact with Kermit. He's talking directly to Kermit. He can see the puppeteer because of the way that they're staged, but he's still talking to Kermit, and he's starting to freak out because he's talking to the puppet like it's a real thing. And Kermit doesn't break stride because he's Kermit. And that, I don't know. I've always wanted to be involved with the Muppets in some way, just to play in that universe.
Yeah. I remember like Cookie Monster being on the Colbert Report and stuff. That was also a good one. It's happened. There's been multiple times where they show up on these like late night talk shows and stuff that are just like, this is great. This is wonderful.
Oh, there was one.
So much fun.
The Masked Singer, Masked Dancer, or something.
Mm-hmm. I think Masked Singer. Yeah.
And they pulled it off, and I think it was Kermit in there.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
They take the costume apart and there's nobody in there at first, and there's this kind of dramatic pause, and then I'm pretty sure it's Kermit that pops up and goes, "Yay!" and everyone freaks out.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, this is amazing. Anyway, yes, the Muppets are so much fun. We love the Muppets. Speaking of things we love, how about taking a break right now on the BumbleKast? And we're back to jump into the standard Q&A. Here's this one from Dove. What is Dr. Starline's full name?
Dr. Starline.
First name Doctor, last name Starline. I like it. Next question is from Tick Tick. Will the 30th anniversary special be canonical to the IDW books, as in if Classic Sonic ever shows up in IDW, the events of those stories in there would have happened? Or is it more like Team Sonic Racing and more non-canonical?
I'm treating it as canonical to Classic Sonic in IDW, so that if we do more Classic Sonics, we could potentially refer back to it. It's not really a continuity-heavy story, but I would consider it, maybe the beginning of IDW Classic. I don't know. We'll see.
All right. Our next question is from Godzilla. Which is the best movie sequel? Aliens, T2 Judgment Day, Empire Strikes Back, or Captain America the Winter Soldier?
Oh, jeez.
It's like, are these like relative to the original, to the first movies, or relative to each other?
Oh, wow. That's a... That's a good question. All right, let's break it down, because this is a beefy one.
Okay.
Break out the steak knife. We're going in deep.
First of all, I still have not seen Aliens, which I know is a travesty, and I need to rectify. I know.
Wow.
I will.
Okay.
I've seen the first Alien, and I loved it.
All right.
Even though I hate horror movies.
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen the original Terminator, so...
Okay, yeah, that's... I haven't seen it in forever, so I barely remember it, but... Yeah, the second one is clearly the superior one.
Yeah. All right, so let's look at what these sequels are. All right, they're part of a longer running set, and arguably a trinity, give or take. And what they do compared to, let's start with what they do compared to the original. The original Alien was a super atmospheric, incredibly intense horror movie. Aliens is a much more bombastic action horror. Like it doesn't have nearly the same degree of oppressive tension or moodiness as the original.
Right.
But it still has horror elements. And it's much more open and bright and a lot more shoot bang. Arguably more character driven. I don't know. That's up for a different debate. But it takes the original concept and makes it more accessible, maybe opens it up to a broader audience, because when you add in that action element, it brings in a crowd that would be put off by just straight horror, I guess.
Right.
Terminator, the original, was basically a sci-fi slasher movie. Aaliyah disagrees.
Oh, okay.
And you know what? I'm not going to contest it because I didn't see it.
Well, now you need to change that.
Oh, well. Terminator 2 is this sci-fi adventure, I guess. I mean, it's definitely an action movie. There's it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. There's definitely going to be some shoot bang, but I feel like it's more of an adventure film with the constant chase going on. You know, there's a lot of chase elements to it, and the focus isn't so much the confrontation as the avoiding confrontation, if that makes any sense.
Sure. Yeah.
So I guess that in a way that kind of builds upon the original idea, since the whole idea is getting Sarah Connor away from the T-100. It's just a bigger, better version of the original.
Yeah, they're chase movies, essentially. I mean, that's kind of what they all are, really.
Empire Strikes Back is a game changer. It takes the status quo and completely upends it in every possible way.
Yeah. Brilliantly, by the way.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier is a different movie.
Honestly, yes.
Straight up.
It is, yes. Compared to the first Captain America, at least.
Like the first Captain America is a pulpy, almost period piece action movie.
Oh, it is a period
Winter
piece
Soldier,
for sure, yeah.
Winter Soldier is a spy movie when you get down to it. It's still very actiony. It's still a Marvel movie, but it's definitely got a lot more cloak and dagger going on. It raises harder questions that it never answers, but
no,
you know,
Ian, Cloak and Dagger is a different thing. Cloak and Dagger is completely different.
I'm not talking about the superheroes, Kyle.
Sorry, I had to. Anyway, go ahead.
But like the first two acts are very much a spy thriller. And
Right,
then the third act is a Marvel movie, but
well, you know.
And for all the talk of exposing the Hydra Shield connection, it doesn't really feel like it did as much for the greater franchise as, say, Empire did for Star Wars.
The payoff for Winter Soldier really comes down to outside media, mainly Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. If you never watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you never really got the payoff of Winter Soldier.
Okay.
And
See,
ultimately,
I didn't get much further than season 1. So
yeah, no, season 2 is where it starts to get really good. So yeah, but the first season's fine. It establishes things. It's okay. But season 2 is where Captain America: Winter Soldier actually ties into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And then I think what is it? It's all like resolved, and it also ties into the second Avengers movie, I think. Age of Ultron, yeah. Kind of builds up to that. So, yeah, it's one of those things where if you're not following the other media outside of the movies, then you kind of missed a lot of the implications and a lot of what happened. So, I'd say that's a kind of a weakness for it. So I'd say that makes it one of the weakest of these films, weakest of these sequels.
So I was trying to look at it in terms of how they impacted or how they reflected on the original film and then how they would impact the rest of the franchise. But I think that's just too broad, too muddy.
Mm-hmm.
So as we established, Winter Soldier has a really cool setup, but then the third act is just kind of bombastic and doesn't answer any of the questions that it poses. So we're going to bump that off of the top because as great as it is, as cool as some of those moments are, I will watch that movie as just like fun background noise, readily and eagerly, if nothing else for that knife flip. My God, dude. It kind of falls apart in the third act.
Right.
The other three, I can't immediately think of any like actual pitfalls aside from the sequels kind of ignoring what came before and taking it in less interesting directions. What is the best one? I can't pick. All this talk about it and I can't pick.
Yeah. It's hard. It's so hard. You just watch them all. Why do I have to pick a favorite? Why they got to be the best? Why is there got to be a best? Why can't they all be the best?
I mean, they all kind of stand out at least those three, Aliens, T2, and Empire. They all stand out as the sequels that were better than the originals.
Yep.
And are these pillars of pop culture. So we're going to say a three-way tie on that one.
For good reason. For good reason, yes.
Yeah. Sorry, Winter Soldier, you're a great flick. I love you, but I don't think you can stand shoulder to shoulder with those three.
No. I think Winter Soldier is kind of the outlier here. It is a fantastic movie, but in terms of its status with the other three, no. Nope. Anyway, let's move on to the question here from Mike B. Mini golf arc when?
I'm puttering around the idea.
Oh, you're so funny. You're so funny. Here's this one from T-Cos. I was Zavok able to get back up after taking a beating from Super Sonic.
Because he was giant Super Zavok.
Super Zavok? That's a thing?
Well, giant Zavok. I guess. Since it's
Okay,
not really super.
I'm just silly.
Empowered Zavok.
Yeah, we'll go
Him
with that.
big Zavok.
Sure.
Giga Chonkosaurus Zavok.
Yes. And we got a super long question here from big Sonic fan Patrick. I really enjoyed the Iron Dominion saga of the old Archie comics and felt that it was a huge turning point for the comics from the huge revelations of issue 200 to Dr. Eggman's return to sanity, well, his equivalent, in issue 210 of the main stories. My question is regarding two things I noticed in the Iron Dominion saga. Firstly, I noticed a small detail regarding Dr. Eggman and his glasses. When his glasses came completely off for the first time, he lost his sanity, and as he gradually became old Dr. Eggman over the course of the saga, his glasses came back on. The only other time Dr. Eggman was seen with his glasses off to any degree was in issue number 230, after the first Genesis wave was reversed. I was wondering if you or the artist used the Doctor's glasses as a way to show the audience level the sanity or stability that Dr. Eggman was at with his mind, with aforementioned events in number 230 being a near breaking point until he remembered it was because of Sonic that his plans for Operation Clean Sweep went awry. Second, I was wondering if there was any true significance to the various mathematical calculations that Dr. Eggman was writing on his cell in New Mobotropolis. For example, was he trying to calculate why Sonic defeated him, or was the writing on the walls a small nod to the prison island cell where Gerald Robotnik and Sonic were held?
All right, so to the first bit, it wasn't meant to be like a hard litmus gauge of just how crazy Eggman was at the time. It was more that the reveal of the red eyes was, a shocking reveal to show that he was just gone, bonkers. And then the slip later on was just a callback to that. It was such a iconic moment that a lot of people, latched onto. It felt like that if we didn't acknowledge it, at least in part, it would feel like it was just there for the sake of the moment. So having the small slip was just a small callback to, hey, remember when he lost control? We didn't forget. He's still in control. It wasn't a bigger, grander vision. It was a visual shorthand, which the scribblings on the wall were also. Yes, it was supposed to be kind of a nod to Gerald's cell. But no, there wasn't any actual thought into what equations were there. I think the script probably called for something like the walls are covered in complex equations. If somebody who is actually math smart were to look at it, I'm sure they would just kind of go, that's nonsense. But it's visual shorthand for Eggman trying to rationalize everything in a quantifiable way.
Sure. And our next question is from Cassidy J. In the IDW Sonic series, I really hope to see more of Big the Cat in the main storyline and have him be involved in more stories, even maybe as comic relief. He's my all-time favorite Sonic character, and Froggy too. Also, I know that classic Sonic characters are off-limits to the IDW series, such as Mighty, Ray, Bean, Bark, Fang, Honey, and Tiara, because the stories take place in the modern universe. But would you be allowed to use characters such as Tikal and Chaos in the IDW series? I'd really love to see them appear.
First off, Big is love, Big is life.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see more Big myself. As for Tikal and Chaos, that is a yesterday, no tomorrow type scenario. Chaos was supposed to be part of the finale to season 1. That got the okay at the original pitch and then was rejected when we actually got to that part of the story. So we'll see if things change in the future. I would like them to come back. They are popular characters. You could have fun with them. But as of this recording, the official word is they're dead.
Yes. That could change. You never know.
That could change.
But
that could change. I hope it changes. But
right
for now, I wouldn't hold my breath waiting for them.
Yeah. And finally, our final question here from PC the Unicorn. Ian and Kyle, anti-versions of Sonic characters have been discussed a few times on the BumbleKast, so now I have a very meta question. What would your anti-counterparts be like?
In my case, good-looking and successful.
In my case, very serious and has no sense of humor. That's all I can think of. It never laughs. Unlike me, who giggles all the time and can't stop.
See, you say that, and I'm the one who's giggling at you.
Exactly. Yeah, Auntie Ian is clean-shaven, and I have a ZZ Top beard. Auntie
Dude.
Me. Yeah.
You would rock that.
No, I wouldn't.
That would be fantastic.
No.
You are now no longer allowed to shave. You must become the anti-cop.
No. My mother has tried to convince me not to shave, and no. It gets, I've let things grow out a little bit, and it's like, no, stop, gone, off with you. I don't know. It's very annoying and very, I don't like it.
There's always that one period of beard growth where it looks absolutely awful, and you're afraid of going outside because they might call the police on you.
It feels awful too, and I hate it.
Once you get past that benchmark, and it goes from the scruff to actual beardage, then it's all gravy, man. Then it's just beard.
Yeah, but I don't think Jennifer likes beards either. I think she would leave me if I grew it out. I think she would leave me.
And see, I'm the opposite. I think Aaliyah would disown me if I shave again. So
yeah. I mean, you do look weird without the beard. I will say that. You do look very wrong without it. It's like, what the heck? Where's Ian?
It's the baby face.
Where's Ian? Who's this guy?
What is that strange fleshy lump of mashed potatoes?
That's my job to look like a strange lumpy mess of mashed potatoes. Thank you very much. Yeah. So yeah. I'd have to have the ZZ Top beard. That would be like, because I have to go full on opposite, and I never shave it off because I hate shaving it off, unlike the real me who hates having it. So there we go. That's it for this edition of the BumbleKast.
Not quite yet. We have to give a big thank you to all the people who make this show possible.
Ow!
Big thank you to Daniel H., Alex P., James K., John B., Jennifer R., Samuel P., Sam Cybercat, Robotnik Holmes, Mike B., Justin G., Torchbound, Coupland Crew 128, Duas Dizdin, Diane W., Scarfy Matt, Andrew D., Chris A., John M., Dawn B., Yami M., Sonny, Lee H. K., Sin Fritz, Lisa M., Chevelle, Salute Your Cat, Silly String, Noni, Off, Dave M., Blue Title Gamer, Justin S., Bradley TT, Tick Tick, Papa Drepa, Tapa Dapa Loop, Sapa Dapa Deep KKM, Final Neil, J. Frost, Digama F. Wow, Jonathan D., Rachel W. PC, The Unicorn, Godzilla, Chaos Universe, Sonic Legacy, Piggy Bank, Hero of Light 13, Preston M. Daddler, The Dalek, Daniel B., Glitchiest Dove, Owen B. D., Sony N., Jib, Jonathan W., Red the Supernamic, Sapphire Scarletta, Turbo, Red Wolf, Chase L., Flixie, Crooker, Joe S., Ryan D., Fernando G., Son Amy Channel, Scurvy Pirate Hog, and Happy Times!
Ah, yes. Happy times. We gotta have our happy times. Gotta have it happy times. Things are happy.
Noting here that in the list of patrons and Ko-Fi donators, Happy Times is number 69. Nice.
This happy times. Happy times for all. Anyway, thanks everybody. Thanks everybody for your support. Where can people find you on the internet, Ian?
Find me on Twitter at IanFlynnBKC, my personal website, BumbleKing.com, that has the Q&A master list, the Bumble Comic Shop, and all sorts of wonderful links, including one to my original web series with Adam Bryce Thomas called Drogoon. That's DROGUNE.com. It is a free fantasy series. Go read it right now. And once you're done, Kyle, where can they find you?
You can head on over and find me on Twitter at KyleJCRB. You can also find me over at kngi.org. That's the home of my other show, Nitro Game Injection. Listen to that one streaming live on Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It's all about remixed video game music, covers, arrangements, all that fun stuff. Generally the fan-made, community-driven show, so check that out as well. You'll also find BumbleKast over there, and you can download it and listen to it to your heart's content, wherever you want. It's all MP3s, so go. Now, go!
You can follow the show on Twitter at BumbleKast, contact us at BumbleKast@yahoo.com, and listen to us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, our YouTube channel, and kngi.org.
Also be sure to check out the Bumble Store, shop.spreadshirt.com/BumbleStore. That's where you can get the Knowing Smile gear. You want it Knowing Smile on a shirt? You can do it. You want Knowing Smile on a face mask? You can do it. You want Knowing Smile on a mug? You can do it. You want it on a hat? You can do it. You can have an annoying smile anywhere and everywhere all over your body. You might even be able to get it on socks. I'm not 100% sure.
I mean, if you can, and you really just want to step on my face repeatedly, for whatever reason, I'm not going to judge. You could do it.
Wow. Okay, we're not going to get into that. We're not going to get into that right now. That's a different episode. That needs to be that. We'll talk about that later. We'll talk about it. I thought you thought the whole Lady Dimitrescu thing was weird.
Kyle, I'm talking about the people who are angry at me. What are you thinking about?
Oh, I don't know. What are you thinking about? Are you thinking about are you thinking about our streams? Maybe you should think about that.
Yeah, you can catch BumbleKast Gaming live on YouTube, youtube.com/BumbleKing videos, Sundays at 10 p.m. Eastern Time.
Nice. Yes. That's it. That's all we got.
We're done.
Yeah. Go do whatever you're going to do somewhere else. Don't do it here. Go. Yeah.
Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. We'll see you next week for more BumbleKast.
Who's getting stepped on this time?
You can follow the show on Twitter at BumbleKast. Contact us at Yahoo.
Contact us at yahoo.com. Yes. Go to yahoo.com. There to be BumbleKast. Right there. Bam.
It's time to ask questions. It's time to make them fight. It's time to get things started. Why don't you get things started? It's time to get things started on the most occasional, inspirational. And I'm just going to rip it off directly.
BumbleKast.
This is not my witty day. This is me just going to get to the questions. Educational. There you go, Dove.
There you go. Yeah. Bumbleational. You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of BumbleKing Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org. We like to take breaks. We like to take the breaks. This is the breaks. Put the brakes on the show. Hit the brakes.
Them's the breaks.
Yeah, something like that. That's the break song. Let's break dance. Let's not, actually. I don't know how to break dance. I never have. Never will. Probably.
I would break something.
I would, but yeah, me too. I can't do it. Can't do it.
I would rather that you give me a break. Give me a break. Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar.
Yeah, I can do that all the time.